English test. You will have 45 minutes to complete 75 questions. Directions. In the 5 passages that follow, certain words and phrases are underlined and numbered. In the right-hand column, you will find alternatives for the underlined part. In most cases, you are to choose the one that best expresses the idea, makes a statement appropriate for standard written English, or is worded most consistently with the style and tone of the passage as a whole. If you think the original version is best, choose No Change. In some cases, you will find in the right-hand column a question about the underlined part. You are to choose the best answer to the question. You will also find questions about a section of the passage or about the passage as a whole. These questions do not refer to an underlined portion of the passage, but rather are identified by a number or numbers in a box. For each question, choose the alternative you consider best and fill in the corresponding oval on your answer document. Read each passage through once before you begin to answer the questions that accompany it. For many of the questions, you must read several sentences beyond the question to determine the answer. Be sure that you have read far enough ahead each time you choose an alternative. Passage 1. The Middle Sibling. My Uncle Roy, being the 4th child in a family of 7 children. Like many middle children, he claimed that he received neither the privileges enjoyed by the other children, nor was the pampering and indulgence showered on him as it was on the younger children. Close in age, all 7 children simultaneously attended a small country school in eastern Tennessee when Roy was about 10 years old. Similarly, when they attended church on Sundays, Roy was just one child lost in the crowd. No one took his complaints of being ignored seriously and unfairly treated until Roy's insistence eventually persuaded them. Question 1. A. No change. B. Roy having been. C. Roy was. D. Roy. Question 2. F. No change. G. Many middle children he claimed. H. Many middle children he claimed. J. Many middle children he claimed. Question 3. A. No change. B. Was he pampered and indulged like? C. Was he showered with pampering and indulgence like? D. The pampering and indulgence showered on. Question 4. No change. G. Place after took. H. Place after being. J. Place after and. Question 5. Which of the choices would most effectively conclude this sentence by guiding the reader from paragraph 1 into the rest of the essay? A. No change. B. One day he decided to take things into his own hands. C. The situation took a turn for the worse. D. Certain events one Sunday confirmed his point. Passage 2. The evening church service was over. The family had returned home, and everyone was sitting around in the living room. After some time, my grandmother looked up and asked if anyone had seen Roy. No one could remember seeing him since the church service had started. Coming in late, Roy had taken a seat on a back pew, but that was the last recollection anyone had of him. They proceeded to scour the house and grounds, looking for him everywhere at the henhouse, in the outhouse, under the porch. It soon became apparent that Roy must have been left behind at church. My grandfather had taken the horse and wagon to a distant neighbor because Luther, the oldest boy, made the 5-mile trek back to the little church. Luther immediately woke him, and Roy, being too big to carry, had to sleepily stumble out of the church and all the way home. Sure enough, there was Roy, still sound asleep and curled up on the back pew, carved out of sturdy white oak. Question 6. F. No change. G. Over the family had returned home. H. Over the family had returned home. J. Over the family had returned home. Please notice the difference in punctuation. Question 7. A. No change. B. And with that. C. So that. D. By which it. Eight. F. No change. G. Him, comma, everywhere. H. Him everywhere. J. Him, comma, everywhere, no comma. Question 9. A. No change. B. For. C. So. D. Yet. Question number 10. The writer is thinking of revising the second part of the preceding sentence to read, Luther made the trek back to church. If this revision were made, the sentence would primarily lose F. Descriptive details that enrich the narrative. G. Unnecessary information that bogs down the narrative. H. Confusing details that serve only to distract the reader. J. Information more clearly presented elsewhere in the story. Question 11. A. No change. B. Roy, comma, too big to carry, comma. C. Roy, comma, being too big, comma, to carry. D. Roy being too big to carry, comma. Question 12. F. No change. G. Pew, comma, hewn from locally harvested oak lumber. H. Pew, comma, made from mountain oak. J. Pew. Question 13. Which of the following sequences of sentences makes paragraph 3 most logical? A. No change. B. 1, 3, 2. C. 3, 1, 2. D. 3, 2, 1. Paragraph 4. With his claims of being overlooked so obviously proven true, Roy is prepared to never let the family forget the night they left him at church. But for weeks, Roy had no further grounds for complaint because everyone spoiled him rotten, trying to make up for the embarrassing oversight. Question 14. F. No change. G. Has been preparing. H. Will be prepared. J. Was prepared. Question 15 asks about the preceding passage as a whole. Question 15. Suppose the writer has been assigned to write a short personal opinion essay on a specific problem faced by rural schools. Would this essay fulfill the assignment, and why? A. Yes, because the essay clearly identifies a small country school in eastern Tennessee. B. Yes, because the essay describes something that happens in the writer's own family. C. No, because the essay is primarily describing the experiences of a middle child in a larger family. D. No, because the essay doesn't offer specific solutions for the problem described. Passage 2. Publishing Women's Writing from India. Paragraph 1. There are few countries as linguistically diverse as India. 7 major regional languages are spoken there: Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, Tamil, and English. Therefore, collecting and translating written works from the various regions can be a real challenge. One publishing home, Kali for Women, is meeting this challenge. It was established to give writings by and about Indian women more national and international exposure by translating the works into multiple languages. Paragraph 2. Recently, Kali for Women broadened its readership by publishing some of its English translations in the United States. Honestly, Truth Tales is a collection of 7 short stories, one from each of India's 7 major languages. All 7 stories foster understanding across linguistic and cultural barriers. Question 16. F. No change. G. Publishing. H. Having published. J. By publishing. Question 17. A. No change. B. Nevertheless, Truth Tales. C. One such offering, Truth Tales. D. Consequently, Truth Tales. Passage 3. Ismat Changudi's Tiny Granny, for example, it is the story of a woman which owns almost nothing, including her own name, through her life being variously known as Baftan's kid, Bashira's daughter-in-law, Bismilla's mother, and finally Tiny's granny. Question 18. F. No change. G. Granny, for example. H. Granny, for example, and J. Granny, for example. Question 19. A. No change. B. Who. C. Whom. D. And she. Question 20. F. No change. G. She is. H. Having been. J. Omit the underlined portion. Question 21. Which of the following sentences, if added here, would most effectively lead the reader from passage 3 to the discussion of the Barqua in paragraphs 4 and 5? A. This woman nevertheless has a hearty spirit and owns at least one possession, her burqa. B. This woman nevertheless has a hearty spirit which will serve her well in her later years. C. This woman owns a burqa which nevertheless serves to make her life a bit easier. D. This woman may not own much, but she does possess something that sets her apart from others. Paragraph 4. The burqa is traditionally a garment worn by many Muslim women in India. It conceals a woman's body in 8 yards of intricately wrapped fabric. Some Indian women have viewed the physically confining burqa as symbolic of their limited political mobility. Tiny's granny, however, is very fond of her burqa because she has found a variety of innovative uses for it. It is her blanket at night, being her pillow for her mid-afternoon naps, and her towel after bathing. Question 22. F. No change. G. A garment, it is traditionally. H. A traditional garment. J. Traditional as a garment. Question 23. A. No change. B. Views. C. Views. D. Has viewed. Question 24. F. No change. G. Granny, however, comma. H. Granny, however, comma. J. Granny, however. Question 25. A. No change. B. Used for a pillow for mid-afternoon naps. C. For mid-afternoon naps, it is her pillow. D. Her pillow for mid-afternoon naps. Passage 5. Granny's attitude towards her burqa exemplifies the quality of her character that makes her a survivor rather than if she were a victim. Even women who might reject Granny's burqa can embrace her spirit, for she shows that there is great dignity and beauty in each human life, no matter how the body is clothed. And, thanks to Callie for Women, now more people can hear Granny's voice and the voices of other women in truth tales speak about the truths common to us all. Question 26. F. No change. G. Not. H. Not being. J. Instead if she were. Question 27. A. No change. B. They might reject Granny's burqa, but her spirit can be embraced by them. C. Even those women who reject Granny's burqa can embrace their spirit. D. Her burqa might be rejected, but it has a spirit that can be embraced. Question 28. F. No change. G. Voice, and. H. Voice, and. J. Voice, and. Question 29. A. No change. B. Being ultimately shared by all. C. Familiar in the end to ultimately everyone. D. Shared and common to us all. Question 30 asks about the preceding passage as a whole. Question 30. Suppose the writer had been assigned to write an essay showing how specific life experiences have influenced an author's work. Would this essay successfully fulfill the assignment? F. Yes, because the writer shows how the burqa has influenced the author of the story Tiny's Granny. G. Yes, because the essay indicates that the stories and truth tales are based on Indian women's experiences. H. No, because the essay only discusses one of the stories included in Truth Tales. J. No, because the essay does not include information about the author of Tiny's Granny. Passage 3. A reflection on bubbles. Bubbles admittedly seem a lightweight topic for serious consideration. The very idea of bubbles and the word bubble tend to make us laugh. Usually, we generally use the word bubble to express amusement. We speak of a person's bubbly, effervescent personality or a fantasy bubble that eventually bursts. Anyone who has blown soap bubbles or blown up bubble gum can be forgiven for dismissing bubbles as trivial. But don't be fooled by the apparent insubstantiality of bubbles. Bubbles are elusive. Bubbles give us considerable psychological lift. The airborne soap bubble, a mere gas globule surrounded by a thin film of liquid, lends themselves to the study of interference effects in light wave reflection. Even the basic question of how such a bubble keeps its spherical shape leads to research into pressure differentials and into surface tension. Speculation about bubbles and liquids also lead to interesting investigation. If, for example, you wonder why bubbles appear in soft drinks only after you open the bottle, you can study the process of cavitization, the production of bubbles in liquid when pressure is suddenly reduced. The seemingly frivolous bubble actually works hard in many practical applications. Engineers use a bubble chamber to study atomic reactions, and chemists use a bubble tower to analyze liquids. Utility workers use a bubble gauge to determine the rate of flow of gas in a pipeline. To navigate airplane pilots, they use a bubble sextant, and carpenters use a bubble level to build houses straight and true. Perhaps the most common use of the bubble is likely the bakers in producing leavened bread, 13 loaves of which makes a baker's dozen. When carbon dioxide bubbles from the interaction of yeast and sugar makes bread dough rise, they're actually contributing to our nourishment. Thus, the ethereal bubbles serves many of humanity's basic needs, providing not only play, food for thought, and essential tools, but also our very sustenance. Question 31. A. No change. B. Bubbles, admittedly, seem. C. Bubbles admittedly, seen. D. Bubbles admittedly seem, Question 32. F. No change. G. Bubbles. H. Bubbles semicolon. J. Bubbles dash. Question 33. A. No change. B. Typically. C. In fact, more often than not. D. Indeed. Question 34. With the intention of adding more information, the writer is considering inserting at this point the following true statement. You can blow soap bubbles using either a bubble pipe or a plastic ring on a handle, and bubblegum users enjoy the bonus of getting trading cards with some brands of gum. Should the writer insert the new sentence here? Why or why not? F. Yes, because the sentence gives the reader some serious information about bubbles as a contrast to the trivial information given earlier. G. Yes, because the sentence confirms that the entertainment uses of the bubble are the most interesting uses. H. No, because the sentence provides incidental details that are not of sufficient relevance for inclusion. J. No, because the sentence provides information that undermines the writer's argument that bubbles should be dismissed as trivial. Question 35. Which choice ends the essay's introduction with a contrast that leads the reader toward the argument the writer makes in the rest of the essay? A. No change. B. Whimsical. C. Important. D. Wild. Question 36. Which choice best leads the reader into the subject matter of the second paragraph? F. No change. G. Appeal not only to curiosity, but to other emotions. H. Attract considerable scientific interest. J. Aren't just curious, but pure fun. Question 37. A. No change. B. Itself. C. Theirselves. D. Oneself. Question 38. F. No change. G. Its. H. Its. J. Their. Question 39. A. No change. B. Leads. C. Led us. D. Have led. Question 40. F. No change. G. Drinks, semicolon, only after. H. Drinks only after. J. Drinks, comma, after only. Question 41. A. No change. B. Where a bubble sextant is used by airplane pilots in navigation. C. Airplane pilots use a bubble sextant to navigate. D. A bubble sextant to navigate is used by airplane pilots. Question 42. F. No change. G. Possibly. H. Quite possibly. J. Omit the underlined portion. Question 43. A. No change. B. Bread. 13 loaves would be said to make a baker's dozen. C. Bread, comma, counted in either baker's dozen, in parentheses 13, to ordinary dozens. D. Bread. Question 44. F. No change. G. Make. H. Is making. J. Induces. Question 45. A. No change. B. Whatever. C. However. D. Primarily. Passage 4. Raising guppies. Paragraph 1. When I bought my first aquarium, I just wanted pets I wouldn't have to walk. I had no idea that my new hobby would lead to... Question 46. The writer wishes to introduce the main topic of the essay by indicating how her hobby influenced her thinking. Which of the following would best do so in keeping with the way the topic is developed throughout the essay? F. Netting the profit I'd always hoped for at last. G. My becoming interested in genetics. H. Confirmation of my thinking in that regard. J. My being confirmed in the opinion that pets should be carefree. Paragraph 2. At the pet store, I was impressed by the number of pumps and filters and tanks offered, but the clerk recommended a kit that contained all the essential equipment, and I bought it, carried it home, and set up the tank. It took a little art to make the green plastic plants look rooted in the blue gravel, but when the pump was turned on and the water was treated, the tank looked like an undersea vision I had admired in the shop window. All I needed now were fish. Question 47. A. No change. B. Treated, comma, and the tank. C. Treated, period, the tank. D. Treated, comma, and the tank, comma, it. Paragraph 3. When I revisited the pet store the next day, I realized for the first time what a bewilderingly variety of fish was available. Not having any fish yet, it occurred to me that each species was the consequenting result of genetic selection, a topic that I was studying in my biology class. But I didn't know that the pair of red-tailed fancy guppies I took home would generate a revolution in my thinking. Question 48. F. No change. G. Bewilderingly variety of fish were. H. Bewildering variety of fish was. J. Bewildering variety of fish. Question 49. A. No change. B. I didn't have any fish yet. Period, it. C. I had no fish yet. Period, it. D. It. Question 50. F. No change. G. Was the resulting effect consequenting? H. Resulted as effect from. J. Was the result of. Question 51. Given that all the choices are true, which one gives the most descriptive details about the guppies to the reader at this point in the essay? A. No change. B. Little did I know that the fish. C. I didn't yet know the pair that. D. Wouldn't you know those fancy ones? Paragraph 4. It didn't take long, though, for the short-tailed, more drably colored female to give birth to young. Except for the black dots of their eyes, the baby guppies, you could hardly see them, were almost invisible at first. They quickly grew, however, and soon more were born with variations in color that I found fascinating. I got more and better equipped aquariums with real plants. I read up on animal breeding and genetics so I could begin to make sense also of the genetic variations I was seeing. Question 52. F. No change. G. Take, comma, long though, comma. H. Take long though, comma. J. Take long, comma, though, comma. Question 53. A. No change. B. To give birth to. C. To giving birth to. D. Given birth to her. Question 54. F. No change. B. Were almost invisible. H. You were almost invisible so you could scarcely see them. J. Were so invisible you almost couldn't see them. Question 55. A. No change. B. Soon, however. C. However and soon. D. However soon. Question 56. The writer is considering revisiting with variations in color that I found fascinating to read with variations in color. That revision would cause the sentence to lose primarily F. Emphasis on the writer's own perceptions. G. Fascination with the writer's own skill at writing. H. Variations on the writer's theme of biological selection. J. Characterizing details of the fish the writer is describing. Question 57. A. No change. B. I could begin to make sense, so I also read up on animal breeding and genetics. C. So I could begin to make sense, I read up also on animal breeding and genetics. D. I also read up on animal breeding and genetics, so I could begin to make sense. Paragraph 5. My new enthusiasm soon produced a practical reward. When I had 6 tanks and more fish than I knew what to do with, I took 5 pairs of my best guppies to the pet store. The owner paid me $4 for each pair and said he'd pay twice for that exotically colored varieties that would reproduce themselves. Now, not only am I getting pretty good at selectively breeding colorful guppies, I'm starting to earn college expenses so I can become a geneticist. Question 58. The preceding sentence in the third sentence in the essay that begins, when I, the other two are the first sentence of paragraph 1 and the first sentence of paragraph 3. The effect of this repetition in the essay is to F. Trace the writer's account progressively back in time to the enthusiasm for genetics in her biology class. G. Mark 3 points in time in the writer's account, leading up to the present marked by now later in the paragraph 5. H. Establish a pattern in the essay that makes it clear how much time has elapsed since the writer brought her first aquarium. J. Establish a stable pattern in the essay that supports the writer's view of herself as holding the same views when each of the events described occurred. Question 59. A. No change. B. Pair and said, semicolon. C. Pair and said. D. Pair, comma, and said, comma. Question 60. X out the preceding passage as a whole. Question 60. Unlike most fish which lay eggs, guppies give birth to live young. For the benefit of the many readers unaware of this fact, the writer is considering adding the following sentence to the essay. Guppies are unusual fish in that they are born alive rather than hatching from eggs. If this new sentence were added to the essay, it would most logically be placed after the first sentence in paragraph F2, G3, H4, J5. Passage 5. Latimer's Bright Ideas. Paragraph 1. The career of Lewis Howard Latimer, a pioneer in the electric lighting industry, is a model of how much artistically ability, technical skill, and scientific expertise can combine to further technological process. As a designer and inventor, and besides being an expert legal witness, Latimer made significantly important contributions to the development of electrical lighting. Work he did 100 years ago to probably help illuminate the page you are reading now. Question 61. A. No change. B. How many artistic? C. How artistic? D. The artistic. Question 62. F. No change. G. Are the combinations that further. H. Combine to the furthering of. J. Combine furthering. Question 63. A. No change. B. An. C. Along with being. D. Also being an. Question 64. F. No change. G. Made significant and important contributions. H. Contributed both significantly and importantly. J. Made significant contributions. Question 65. A. No change. B. Is probably helping. C. Will likely help. D. Omit the underlined portion. Paragraph 2. Latimer, who was born in the last century in Massachusetts in 1848, was the son of a former slave. At the age of 17, he took a clerical job in a Boston drafting firm. His artistic talent was quickly recognized, and he earned a promotion to designer. Alexander Graham Bell, one of the firm's clients, noticed Latimer's exceptional artistry and chose him to execute the drawings he needed to accompany the patent application for the first telephone. Question 66. F. No change. G. Was born in 19th century. H. Was born in. J. In the 19th century was born in. Paragraph 3. At some later point, Latimer began his career in electric lighting as a designer for the United States Electric Lighting Company. He not only executed the drawings for the company's patent applications, but also designed an improved incandescent lamp. Question 67. Which of the transitions provides the most effective link from paragraph 2 to paragraph 3? A. No change. B. It was later in time that when. C. Hoping to be successful. D. Building on this early success. Question 68. F. No change. G. Not only did he. H. Not only he. J. He both. Question 69. A. No change. B. Applications but, comma, also. C. Applications but also, comma. D. Applications, semicolon, but also. Paragraph 4. Latimer's contribution to the field of electric lighting through his testimony as an expert witness. In 1890, the legal department of the Edison Electric Light Company was joined, later General Electric. As a member of that department, he helped defend Edison's patents in court. When General Electric and Westinghouse formed the Board of Patent Control, Latimer became its chief draftsman and expert witness. Question 70. F. No change. G. The contribution of Latimer. H. Latimer also contributed. J. Contributing also. Question 71. A. No change. B. Of electric lighting as an expert witness through his testimony. C. As an expert witness of electric lighting through his testimony. D. Through his testimony of electric lighting as an expert witness. Question 72. F. No change. G. He joined the legal department of the Edison Electric Company. H. The Edison Electric Light Company's legal department was joined. J. The legal department was joined of the Edison Electric Company. Question 73. A. No change. B. Formed, comma, then the. C. Formed the. D. Formed, comma, the. Paragraph 5. Unfortunately, upon Latimer's death in 1928, the Edison Pioneers, an organization of scientists who had worked with Thomas Edison, eulogized their longtime friend and colleague as a great man who had a keen perception of the potential of the electric light in kindred industries. Question 74. F. No change. G. Upon. H. Thereupon. J. When it came. Question 75 asks about the preceding passage as a whole. Question 75. Suppose the writer had been assigned to write a short essay illustrating how an important figure in a certain field did not receive the recognition that person deserved. Would this essay successfully fulfill the assignment? A. Yes, because the essay shows how the famous men with whom Latimer worked received the credit for his improvements. B. Yes, because the essay shows how Latimer used his many talents to contribute to the electric lighting industry. C. No, because the essay indicates that Latimer's contributions to the electric lighting industry were important. D. No, because the essay focuses on Latimer's varied accomplishments and also indicates that he received recognition by many. This is the end of the English test. Stop. Do not turn the page until you are told to do so.